Before I start, just let me say that I've had some people ask about my 3D printed R2-D2 project and how it's going, and I just wanted to say that I am still working on it, and I've just had a few delays that I will be talking about in the next installment. In the meantime, R2's dome is just chilling here in my office next to some of my other statues. So I've introduced a number of 3D printed items on my channel, but I've actually printed a lot more than I've been able to show here. So today I'm going to show you 4 Star Wars models that I've printed from Thingiverse.com, and I'm going to let you decide which of them I should paint and finish up. There's going to be a poll attached to the video that allows you to vote. You can feel free to comment as well, but only votes in the poll will actually count toward the selection of the model. Now it's possible I may paint some or all of the models I'm showing here later on at some point, but the one you choose will be the first, and it may end up being the only one I actually get done. The first model is this Yoda Bust. Now, this has been around for a long time. Here, this one was made in 2011, and I don't think that the person who submitted this particular model here actually made the model. They just cleaned it up and made it easier to print. But in any case, this is the one that I did print. And it's often used by people sort of wanting to test out their printers. So you see a lot of this model just if you follow 3D printing news or anything like that. I first tried printing a small version in a scale similar to Gentle Giant's line of mini busts. I even modeled and added this base so that it would fit in with Gentle Giant's busts, but in the end it just seemed too small, not very impressive, and especially because Gentle Giant's busts tend to have the whole upper body instead of just basically the head and shoulders as they have here. It didn't really fit in. So I decided to print it as large as I could on my printer. To print something like this on a 3D printer, you have to use a lot of support material. The printer lays down one layer of plastic after another, and if there's nothing to support a layer, then it's just going to end up sagging and getting all out of shape. So things like the ears and the chin need a lot of support to print properly. And here you can see also that there is infill inside the print. You don't want to make it one solid piece of plastic. It would take really long to print, and it would cost a lot of money because you'd be using a lot of extra plastic. So you use this kind of crisscross pattern inside. And here is the finished print with all of the support material in place. You just have to rip that away and clean it up maybe a little bit with some sandpaper or an X-Acto knife, and here you get the final product. It's really quite good. Very detailed model, and a lot of that detail I think came through really well. So that is choice number 1. Next up we have the Millennium Falcon, which is obviously a sort of a spoonerism for Millennium Falcon, and it might also be a play on words for the word filament. This is a very popular model on Thingiverse. In fact, it's the most made Star Wars model on there, and one reason for that I think is that it prints easily without the need for any support material, unlike something like Yoda. This is because it was designed to print up on its end, and it doesn't have any major overhangs that might be problematic. One thing that a lot of people don't know about 3D printers is that they have a higher resolution vertically than they do horizontally. That is, they can make finer details on a vertical surface than on a horizontal one, so that really helped with all of the fine detail you can see here. The downside of this, for me anyway, was that my printer has a somewhat limited vertical build volume, so this is the largest I could possibly print this model, at least without splitting it up somehow. The designer made a number of different versions, including with and without landing gear, and the original trilogy and Force Awakens versions with different radar dishes, but I went with the original trilogy version with the landing gear. Now, I've never painted a Millennium Falcon before, but it should be quite interesting, if something of a challenge. So that's number 2. Next up is a much less popular model, but one that's really nice nonetheless. It's a Gonk Droid, or a Power Droid. I've always been a fan of the Gonk Droid. They're both cute and a little disturbing at the same time. This is a relatively straightforward model. It's basically a box, but it includes all of the necessary details. One really nice thing about 3D printing is that you can scale the models to any size that your printer supports. So I decided to make this roughly in scale with the 6-inch Black Series figures that I have so many of. I ended up using the program NetFab to chop off his legs so I could print them separately. This meant that I didn't have to worry about using so much support material and probably improved the detail I could get on the legs as well. I think this one will be a lot of fun to paint and weather. So that's choice number 3. Finally, we have this bust of Maz Kanata from The Force Awakens. It's a very detailed model and really quite impressive looking. Now, just as with Yoda, I first tried printing this in a smaller size with a little base that I added myself, but I don't know, it didn't come out too badly, but a lot of the fine detail on the face was lost. You can barely even see her mouth here. Once again, I decided to go as big as possible. Of course, it took a lot of support material, as you can see here, just like Yoda did. I don't remember exactly how long it took to print, but it was probably a day or more. This time, I think it came out really well, and you can see all of the detail clearly. She's probably not my favorite character, but I think she'd be a fun one to paint. And here we have them all together. Just let me know which of these you want me to paint, and I will do it, although it may take a couple of weeks at least. The poll will close at midnight Central Time on Sunday, September the 18th, so we have roughly a week. I'll be looking forward to seeing what you choose, and thanks for watching.